Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Footy Tunes. Thanks so much for tuning in. As always, I know this is probably a little annoying to hear from every podcast you probably listen to, but hit that subscribe button and give us a like if you like the podcast. It actually really helps out a lot more than you would probably think. And also send us your questions. We want to do a bit more of a Q&A with you guys about the state of football as you see it. You can email us at footytunespodcast@gmail.com or reach out to us on social media at footytunespodcast on Facebook and Instagram. But now that all that boring stuff is out of the way, let's get into the show. I'm really excited about the musical guest tonight, KISMET, KISMET. They're a super tight trio out of Asheville, North Carolina, that just released a new EP, self-titled, and we're going to play a couple songs from that EP for you guys tonight, so stay tuned for that. Let's get into the show now. Let's talk some footy, you guys. Hello and welcome to another episode of Footy Tunes. I'm Paul Castanet. That's Will Robinson. We're going to get right into it with the transfer deadline window just ending recently. And let's talk about some of these deals that did and didn't happen. What about Kane deciding not to make the move to City, or who knows if he decided, but Kane staying at Spurs?
It's probably Spurs' best transfer right there.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that, because realistically, if he left, I mean, you got Son, yes, but
yeah, they didn't have time to replace him either. Yeah.
It'd be a different story. So realistically, that's their best signing, the fact that they managed to keep him, and it kind of keeps them in that top six conversation.
How about Man City losing out on a Kane, because they still don't really have a number 9 besides maybe Gabriel Jesus, but obviously Pep's familiar with the false 9, but do you think that's enough to help them win the title again this year?
Honestly, it's going to be a funny one because somehow, yes, like you said, Pep's managed to make that work, not having a number 9, but at the same, I mean, I think it'll work in Europe, no problems, but in the Premier League, I mean, you've seen it, especially Chelsea against Liverpool.
Right.
A team that knows they go up against a very well organized team that's not gonna, that's got a solid shape, that can get the best of them in certain games. So it'll be a weird one, but I mean, it's really kind of tough to call how it'll play out in the Premier League.
Yeah. The biggest name move was probably Ronaldo back to Manchester United. Obviously an aging player now, I think 36,
yes.
But they obviously needed someone in that number 9 position where he's been playing now that he's aging. Is he past his prime, or do you think he's going to do something, be able to produce again for Manchester United?
So I personally think this is a good move, not so much for what he's going to do on the field, but mainly because he'll do something. It won't be his first spell at United when he was just doing the crazy step overs and everything.
Right, that was when he was first coming up and really in his prime.
Exactly. He's more of a leader now. So I think his major contribution is going to be in the dressing room, in practice. He's going to kind of raise everyone's level, get them to kind of work that extra bit harder. I mean, Cristiano Ronaldo, he exudes professionalism,
work ethic.
Exactly, work ethic. And it's just, I think that's going to raise their game.
Yeah, and we were talking about how Alex Ferguson played a big part in him coming too. They were talking a lot, and he really brings like the old Fergie mentality back to the training and the dressing room.
Exactly. So that will, like I said, he'll still do something on the field, but I think that's going to be his biggest contribution.
So your team, Chelsea, had a pretty good transfer window. They had Lukaku in, obviously we talked about that last week, and right before the window closed, they got Saul on loan from Atletico Madrid too. What do you think about that pickup?
Like I said earlier off camera, that's kind of a win-win because Saul is clearly a good player. I don't know what's been going on with him at Atletico the past couple seasons or so.
Right.
Maybe a falling out with Simeone.
Yeah.
But hey, this is a good opportunity for Chelsea. I look at it as kind of a win-win. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, back to Madrid. But also, we're getting a player who kind of has a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
So he's probably, and I think I read somewhere that he had a conversation with Tuchel. Tuchel's going to make sure he stays in that central midfield area because I guess Simeone kind of was playing him all over the place.
Right. Yeah, he does like to do that.
And I'm pretty, and you know what? These players, I get it. They're professionals. They'll do what they have to do. But at the same time, if they feel that they're better in a certain position, that's what they're going to want. So,
right.
Like I said, you got someone who chip on his shoulder, got a point to prove. So it could work in Chelsea's best interest.
Yeah. I think it was a great pickup. On their defensive end, Chelsea, their move for Jules Koundé of Sevilla, the French defender, broke down at kind of the last minute because Sevilla suddenly demanded, I think, an extra 13 million or something kind of out there. And they had already gotten rid of Kurt Zuma to West Ham. Is that going to be an issue, or do you think they're still, with maybe the Trevor Chalobah and the other kids, they still have a decent enough defense to maybe go for the title?
I think they'll be fine. Koundé, I think I gave my opinion on that. Mm-hmm. That can wait. I mean, he's
still young too. I think
exactly.
22,
Yeah,
23.
He's relatively young, and then you've got Chalobah. This is his chance now. I mean, in fact, that's the winner of all this. Chalobah. He gets a chance to prove himself, and who knows if he does well enough, that could probably have the Chelsea hierarchy, Tuchel, hopefully if he's still around, have them saying, you know what, do we really need to break? I mean, honestly, I think they're probably still going to look at Koundé because I think Rudiger's contract situation's in the air.
Right.
So I think they're still going to go for him, but it's just the position we're in. We didn't need to make an emergency. We got to throw a bunch of money at Sevilla and take him. So like I say, he'll be a good acquisition, but it's just we weren't in a hurry for him. So I'm okay with that.
Nice. I'm going to move really quickly to Barcelona's transfer deadline day because it was an absolute disaster. As you guys know, I'm a Barcelona fan, and it was like it's almost laughable some of the decisions you're seeing them make. Let's just I'll go. The main issue, obviously, was at the very last minute they got rid of Antoine Griezmann, sent him back to Atletico Madrid on loan with a $40 million option to buy. Obviously, they got him for like 120, so that's a horrible loss there. And again, not learning their lesson from last year when they let Luis Suarez go for free to Atletico, and his goals were the reason they won La Liga pretty much. And they're doing it all over again with Griezmann, who already knows how to play there. He's already familiar with how they play. He's going to slot right in and produce a lot more goals. Now their front three is Suarez, Griezmann, and maybe João Felix or something. That's a solid front three.
Wow.
So they have to be favorites for La Liga now. But I mean, these Barcelona just like obviously in terrible financial situation, and it's obvious because their three pickups were all free. They have Depay, Eric Garcia, Sergio Aguero, and they picked up Luke de Jong at the very end, which Luke de Jong as a replacement for Antoine Griezmann is another laughable thing. But Emerson Royale, who they just purchased back on a buyback clause and then sent right off to Tottenham for $25 million. Elish Moriba is gone. Junior Firpo they sent to Wolves. Obviously, Messi left on free transfers. Trincao went to Wolves. Just an absolute cluster. It was just horrible business, horrible decision making. And now I don't see really how they're anywhere near the conversation for a La Liga title. Do you think they can compete with either of the Madrids at this point?
I mean, you mentioned all that. And to be honest with you, this has been, I mean, you probably know better than me, but I mean, I've been looking from the outside. And this has pretty much been a buildup for over the past, 5 years or so?
Yeah, this has been in the making.
And that's going to be tough. I mean, because, Real Madrid, they're not in the best of state either.
Right.
But when you look at Atletico, they're probably the team.
Yeah.
Now, I still can't get over that Griezmann one. I'm sorry. That's I can't. That one's kind of hard to wrap my head around.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is,
huge transfer, like the amount of money spent is just ridiculous.
You would think, now that Messi's gone, this would probably be his opportunity. I guess I don't know. You can probably tell me better. I know Messi was the main reason why he wasn't able to play in his position.
Right. And over these first 3 games of the season, though, when he was finally given that free role, he was still invisible. And Depay has really come in and slotted in and looked twice the player Griezmann's been over the past year. I understand Barcelona players not being happy with Griezmann since the money we spent on him and what he's been able to to produce, which is not much. But and this is one thing. I think the best point I heard was someone from ESPN saying that if you knew this was going to happen, if you're going to offload all of this to save money, and that supposedly the issue and why they couldn't re-sign Messi is a La Liga thing where they had too many players were spending too much money. Why would you not get this done beforehand so you can keep your legendary player?
I don't know. That seems to be the story with a lot of
I mean, it's wild.
Just, I mean, that a lot of those decisions were the previous.
Right. Yeah. Not Laporta is the new one, but
Bartolomeu.
Bartolomeu. Yes. Uh-huh.
So I mean, it's just some of these people that run these clubs. It just makes you wonder. I mean, it's sad to see that because you're thinking, I'm thinking, hey, he's going to be there forever. Even what was it last summer when he kind of had a little falling out with that was strange, but they got past that, and I'm like, well, okay, I guess Messi's a Barcelona man for life. But that's insane.
And he wanted to stay this past year too, and they did him wrong, like they have been doing their players most. I mean, I think like that when they first started in this downward trajectory is the way they did at Dani Alves after they won the Champions League. He was like an aging right back, but he was still top of his game, and they let him go to PSG and Juventus. He had like 2 or 3 more great years, but that's really the start of when they put age and their terrible thinking over what's being produced on the field and how good these players actually are.
Wow. First of all, I totally forgot about Dani Alves going to PSG and Juventus. I was like, that did happen.
Yeah. He still had 2 or 3 really good years where he was at the top of his game, but a lot of these clubs after someone turns 30, they don't want to renew your contracts very much.
I don't like that thinking. I really don't. I mean, because it depends on the athlete. I mean, if they've had like a slew of injuries, sort of like a Harry Kane, then I can understand that. Like, this isn't going to work out too well. But if you got someone like a Cristiano Ronaldo who's taking care of himself, doing the right things, then you might want to say, well, do like Chelsea does. The year by year basis.
Right. Yeah, they're famous for only extending player over 30 contracts by 1 year at a time. That's their thing.
That's the smart way to do it because that way you can kind of gauge like, okay, they're still looking the part, so we can keep going.
And then obviously Thiago Silva proved that in earning 1 more year, and he's in 36, 37 now. This
37 point? This year.
37. Wow, he's still doing it. Oh yeah. To wrap up the transfer stuff, I was a little bit surprised Madrid didn't end up picking up a center back. We talked a little bit last week about how they lost their 2 rocks, their longtime central backs, in Sergio Ramos and Rafa Varane went to Manchester United. And obviously they have Militao, who they've been trying to kind of...
That guy's a center back? I mean, not to be mean. I'm just... I
think they've played him at right back as well. But yeah, he's a center back. And obviously Alaba now slightly aging, that he's been playing center back more.
I can kind of see that.
Might be the pairing. But they're going to have a big hole at the back there.
Well, you just mentioned Ramos and Varane, a center back duo that's essentially won everything, both of them at club and international level.
Exactly.
Well, Varane didn't get the Euros, but still, I mean, that
World Cup winner.
Both of them. I mean, that's it. That's almost irreplaceable.
It really is. Yeah.
I mean, and first of all, back to Militao, he looks like a back. I don't know his height, but he definitely looks like he has the build for a back. But
right. Nacho too has also been a part of their team for a while, and I'm sure he could perform really well at center back. But it's I thought they were really gonna splash some cash on one of the big name center backs out there this time.
I mean, they could have. Well, okay, who's that? Pau Torres. No one went for him. I mean,
that was.
Well, I know United went for him at one point, but you would have thought like, okay, Pau Torres. That's easy. He knows the La Liga. He looks like he could, over time, grow into that role for Real Madrid, but
they were linked to him too. That would have been a great pickup from Villarreal. He's had a great couple seasons there, and helping them be a pretty good team now in La Liga. Madrid pick up Eduardo Camavinga at the last minute.
Really? So that did happen?
That went through. Yeah, he's a really hyped up young midfielder from France. I think he was playing at Rennes.
Yes, it was Rennes.
Right. But he looks fantastic, and I think who knows how they slot into a new league, but I think it'll be great for him, especially with the aging midfield.
Absolutely. I mean, I knew about this kid. He's definitely. I don't want to say a Pogba 2.0 because I think he offers a little bit more than Pogba because he cannot, Pogba, he's kind of more of like a forward midfielder,
Right.
but can play that deep end if need be, but he won't
He's
be.
not going to defend, but
Exactly.
he'll put passes in from back there.
But Camavinga, he can actually do that part. Because I remember glancing at a Ligue 1 match, pre-pandemic, and he was just kind of he was playing a little deeper, but he was doing the part. He was doing the defensive part. He was pinging the balls forward, and I was like, okay, this is a player.
Yeah,
and he's still a kid, so it'll be interesting how I can't say Real Madrid's lost that luster because it's Real Madrid. You signed there, everyone's going to have those expectations.
Right,
So,
yeah.
but it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I think especially with Toni Kroos and Luka Modric probably in the twilight of their careers, I think it's a good move for Madrid. Kind of looking forward to go with some good young talent. All right, we're going to take a bit of a break from all that transfer talk to bring you the first song from our musical guest tonight, Kismet. By the way, go listen to them on Spotify. We can't bring you the whole record tonight. That would be too good to be true. If you want to hear the whole thing, you have to go listen to them on Spotify and support your local artists. But yeah, the first song we're going to bring to you tonight is called Shadow from their self-titled EP. Let's take a listen.
Once in a lifetime, I saw light in your face, but all the colors faded away. Now is another time we look through tired eyes and wave our last goodbye and cry and cry. Please leave the light on. The room is falling in. From the way out, I tumble in again. Now, your shadow's creeping in. Too many riddles to solve.
All right, let's get into the Champions League draw that happened recently. We'll go through. Yeah, he's wearing his Pride of London Chelsea Championship shirt today. Congratulations to Chelsea on a fantastic win last year in the Champions League. And the draw is gone, and we're starting all over. So let's start with Group A. Manchester City of England, Paris of France, Leipzig of Germany, and Club Brugge of Belgium. Thank you. It looks like two pretty clear winners, but what do you think Leipzig can do?
Honestly, I'm going to have to say Europa League.
Okay.
Not to be mean, it's just, I don't know. Well, for one, I know Werner, that's probably a hard void to fill. I don't know if they ever fill that void.
Right.
And two, it's just against City and PSG. Yeah, Europa League.
Yeah.
Unless Bruges does something crazy, but yeah.
Right. And the likes of this stacked PSG team, who we forgot to mention in the transfer stuff that Mbappe decided to stay too. That was a huge gain for him.
That was it. Yeah, that was a weird one, but
I don't know why he'd want to leave when his team is so perfect right now. But yeah,
that too.
So Manchester City and Paris, who do you think comes out first though? Because those are two pretty evenly matched teams right now, in theory.
That is a tough one to call. That's wow. Yeah, that
it could go either way. Really,
it really can. Yeah, that's a tough one to call. I
think you would have to say Paris just based on their lineup, but it's. You never know how it's going to work out in the beginning,
They'll have even points. I just don't know who's going to have the better goal differential or whatever else they're going to do to split hairs on that one. So
that'll be a great matchup when it comes up.
Very interesting.
We were talking about how there's not really a group of death this time, but maybe the closest thing to it would be Group B. We have Atletico Madrid of Spain, Liverpool of England, Porto of Portugal, and Milan of Italy. I think it's fair to say most people would favor Atletico and Liverpool, but Porto had strong performances last year, and Milan is also starting to come up a bit. Do you think there's any chance of an upset in this one?
I do want to lean towards Atletico Madrid and Liverpool going through, but I think one of those two clubs, Porto and Milan, have that upset in them. I really do think so. And Milan, they got Ali Giroud. So that could be interesting.
They did.
And he loves that competition.
Yeah.
So that's an true. Interesting one to call. But yeah, honestly, Atletico Madrid and Liverpool, I'm going to go with that.
Yeah, I think that's fair. No, you don't think that Bakayoko pickup for Milan's going to make the difference? I know how big a fan you must be of him.
To be honest with you, I actually felt bad for the guy because there's a player in there. It's just, I don't know what it was in those Premier League matches. Things were not clicking for him, and it's just, to be honest with you, I feel bad for the guy.
Yeah, I hope he does. He finds his feet there. Group C is Sporting Lisbon of Portugal, Dortmund of Germany, Ajax from Netherlands, and Besiktas from Turkey. What do you think?
Dortmund, definitely.
Right.
Yeah, as long as they got Haaland, yeah, definitely.
Oof, yeah, Haaland's been producing internationally too, but obviously he's just a goal-scoring machine for
Second
Dortmund.
place is a little hard to call because all three of those clubs are very well capable of making it through the next round.
Mm-hmm.
That one, second place is kind of hard to call. I really can't. I don't know who to go with because
I'm just going to throw Ajax out there as a guess, but
I'll go with you on that one.
Yeah. Besiktas probably not. Sporting can do something. That'll be interesting to see who gets in second in that one. Group D is Inter Milan, obviously Italy, Real Madrid, Spain, Shakhtar Donetsk of Ukraine, and Sheriff is a team I'm just now hearing of who I believe is a Russian team.
Somewhere from Eastern Europe. They were in the last time I saw them in the Champions League was like over a decade ago.
Yeah, it was a new one for me.
But that group, you know what? I can't even really just jump on. Well, yeah, they lost Lukaku, but I think they still managed to keep some.
Yeah, they managed to hold on to Lautaro Martinez after
surprisingly
Tottenham made an approach for that. But they lost some players and obviously have financial problems of their own. But I don't know. It's hard to see them not being able to beat the likes of Shakhtar and Sheriff.
Well, I know Shakhtar have had a history of being able to get out of that group.
Actually, to be fair, Shakhtar was in Madrid's group last year, and like they almost got out of that group, which was Madrid, I think, and Juventus or some other big team, and they can perform on their day. Yeah.
And you got to remember they've got a history. They've got some weird Brazilian connection because Willian was there.
Oh man, yeah, they have a lot of big players, Brazilian players come out of there. Yeah,
and I don't know if that's still the same, but it's impossible not to say Madrid and Inter.
Yeah.
I think, and unless Shakhtar Donetsk, they got like a new crop of Brazilians. Sorry, Shakhtar, that's what I know you all for. But it's Madrid and Inter for me.
Yeah. Group E: Bayern Munich of Germany, Barcelona of Spain, Benfica from Portugal, and Dynamo Kiev of Ukraine. After just ripping Barcelona a new one, I'm gonna say that there's a chance they could actually knock it out of the group stage with Benfica in there. It'd obviously be a big upset, but I'm just having a hard time seeing Barcelona going very far at all this year.
I think they'll make it out of the group. I'm trying to remember that Benfica because I know they've got some players there. Because I remember, you watch the Euros and you're like, oh wait, that guy plays for Benfica.
Yeah, they're another selling club too. They like to pick up a lot of good players and then they offload them for
those Portuguese clubs
profit.
are good at it. I mean, they really
Lisbon does that a lot too. Yeah,
well, they're good at scouting players from Brazil and other parts of Europe and around the world, and they really do a good job of just making superstars out of players that no one really thinks of. And like I said, I'm sorry, Portugal. I don't follow the Portuguese league enough, but it's just I don't want to completely rule them out. But at the same time, I think Barca's got some players in them. They'll make it out of that group. I can see that. But like you said, whether they make it beyond the round of 16 or not, that's a whole other story. But yeah, Bayern and Barca.
Yeah, that's a fair prediction. Group F is Villarreal of Spain, Manchester United of England, Atalanta of Italy, and everyone's favorite club name, Young Boys from Switzerland, I believe. That's a weird one. But what do you think?
It's easy to say that one's actually a little tricky because I think United will make it through even with Solskjaer as their manager. They'll make it out of that group.
You're hating on this guy, man.
I'm just not convinced by him. I mean, for a man, that we'll save that for another story. They'll make it through, but I do want to see that rematch though between them and Villarreal.
Yeah, that was just the was that the European final?
Europa League final.
Yeah.
Like I said, they'll make it through. Whether they're on top or not, it's another story, but they'll make it through. And then, again, with this one, Villarreal and Atalanta. Mm-hmm. Atalanta just picked up someone from the Premier League, I think.
Did that? Yeah, I mean, they have a strong squad. I'm going to pull it up real quick.
Because I remember that Goossens guy, I think he's still there. From Germany. He looked pretty solid.
Yeah, Goossens, Zapata.
They picked up someone from the Premier League, I think.
But yeah, I mean, strong team has just as good of a chance as getting through as Villarreal does. So that'll be a good matchup.
That's a tough one to call. Honestly, I think Atalanta is going to edge. I think it's going to be United and Atalanta.
Yeah,
really do. I mean, Emery's a good guy. In fact, if anything, if Villarreal will drop back down in that competition and he'll drop down to the Europa League, and Unai Emery will win it.
Where he's happy. Yeah, he's won that tournament so many times with Sevilla. Obviously, I think he might have been under all 5 of their wins. Maybe just 3, but
that's his competition. Except with Arsenal.
Yeah, you can't blame the guy. All right, Group G: Lille of France, Sevilla of Spain, Salzburg from Germany, and Wolfsburg from Germany. This one's pretty
that one could go anyway, honestly. I'm gonna have to rule Lille out because they lost a lot of players.
Uh-huh.
They lost sort of like who were we talking about as a selling club, like Benfica. They've been for the past 5 years or so. They've been a pretty strong club. Well, even before then, because you got to remember that Hazard played there. That's where he had his breakout season years ago, and Arsenal legend Gervinho.
Oh, I forgot about that guy. Yeah,
and they had So I mean, they've always had over the years a solid team. In fact, they're the Ligue 1 winners too.
Right,
but they did lose.
It's just team to win in forever. Yeah.
But they're they are a selling club because I think they lost some key players. I know Boubakary Samari, they lost him to Leicester City.
Do they hold on to Renato Sanchez?
I don't know what happened to Sanchez. I really don't.
I want to say he's still there.
If so, that's impressive.
Yeah. He's one of those guys who had so much hype when he was young and then kind of fell off the face of the earth, but now he's kind of coming back.
You know what it is? He's an international player.
Yeah, he does great for Portugal. You're right.
And then club, it's like...
Yeah, he still plays for Lille.
Okay, well, credit to him for holding on to him.
Yeah.
But, I mean, yeah, so I don't, I could be wrong. I mean, I just don't see them making it through the next round. So Sevilla, they're a pretty strong club. I think they'll probably make it through. And then Wolfsburg, I think they had a little bit of a comeback in Germany. So I'd go with Sevilla and Wolfsburg.
Okay. Yeah, that one's really a toss-up. I think we can all agree on Sevilla, but man, who knows otherwise. Group H, your boys Chelsea, Juventus, Chelsea of England, Juventus of Italy, Zenit St. Petersburg of Russia, and Malmo from Sweden. This is probably their first time in a long time in the Champions League. That's where Ibrahimovic came from. But yeah, it looks like two pretty clear.
Pretty straightforward, unless, just a lot of things go wrong with Chelsea and Juventus. But, I mean, that's pretty straightforward. It'll be interesting. I am curious to see how Tuchel's going to handle the Champions League, because I'm pretty sure, okay, we won, Chelsea won it last year. Are they going to be focusing on the Premier League, because they haven't won the Premier League in 17, so 5 years now?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty sure they're going to, I think there's going to be some focus on that. But I think it's
You
just...
have great depth, though.
We have the depth, that's for certain. So I think we're going to make it out of the group. What happens, in fact, I'll just say it this way. Make it out of the group, but beyond that, I think it's kind of a toss-up. Anything could happen, because I remember last year when we... once we got past Atletico, that's kind of when it started seeping in my head. I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
We can probably do this.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So, yeah, that one, we'll make it out of the group. What happens beyond that is it's wherever the cards fall. I'll just leave it at that.
Fair enough. So moving kind of a little bit to the United States national team, we're in a international break, so that's kind of a bummer for everyone. But there's been some decent games for everyone to watch, except for the USA national team, who started off their qualifying this year with a 0-0 draw to El Salvador. I'm kind of worried about this team. This is supposed to be the U.S.'s their golden age of players with a lot of great European talent. But they're not putting in good performances against teams that they really should be beating by multiple goals if you want to consider yourself someone who's going to qualify for the World Cup.
Well, let's see. I'm guilty. I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, the national team, it's kind of international football in general. It's just kind of hard for me to follow unless it's the tournament. And I get it. They got to qualify for these tournaments somehow. You can't just draw straws, and that's how you end up with teams like Liechtenstein in a World Cup. But it's just, for one, is Greg Berhalter. From last time I remember, he was sticking with this whole playing out the back thing. And do we have the players for that? That's my question. Do we have is he still doing that whole playing from the back thing?
He tries to. He's gotten better about getting away from it once he sees that it's not working, but that's always his go-to. And my big thing with him is that he's just like, all of our best players now are all playing in Europe, with pretty good, pretty big teams, and Berhalter is an MLS guy, which is a completely different feel. And I just think it's time for him to go and to get a European manager with some experience.
So I get where he's coming from with that whole thing, because he wants to make a statement that we do have a league that's producing players. Fair enough, but you got to put that as, when you're talking about trying to qualify for a tournament, trying to move forward, trying to get somewhere, then you got to be a little realistic, pragmatic, and say, you know what, if we're serious about this, then I'm gonna have to call these European guys. Granted, it's probably gonna be a struggle because just the clubs to begin with, they're gonna be pretty stingy. I mean, about who especially Pulisic got called up.
He didn't. I think he got called up, but he didn't play for some reason. I don't remember if it was injury or maybe some COVID stuff.
And it was. I know he missed a game because of COVID.
Right.
But
I don't play in this last game though.
I don't know if he had recovered enough. And then that's the thing. That's the frustrating part, because clubs are going to be pretty. They're going to be pretty, especially I know at the UK they've got certain lists, of country, certain levels, whatever country a player goes to, they're going to have to quarantine maybe longer than other people. So, I mean, that's just going to make it all weird. So I think that's probably one of the reasons why he had to go with MLS players. But even under normal circumstances, was he still picking mostly MLS guys?
I mean, there's a lot of, he never plays all of the big European guys at the same time. I'm not seeing a lot of Weston McKennie with Gio Reyna, with Pulisic, with maybe Josh Sargent. He'll have maybe 2 of those guys in there, and then the rest is filled with MLS players. And I don't mean to trash talk the guys. They put up, sometimes they can be okay, but there's so much inconsistency that you can never. You'll be lucky to qualify for the World Cup again with this great team.
Yeah, that's just. Yeah, that sounds like you said, inconsistency, and it's because it's funny. So you think about France, although we're miles away from France, but. With Didier Deschamps, he's very consistent in who he calls up.
Right.
If you've ever noticed that, Giroud, he still gets, even if he, at Chelsea, he's not getting as many minutes. When he was with us, he still got the call.
Right.
Because, he fits the system. He's, and you got to have, and to see, that's kind of the weird thing about international football a lot of people don't understand is just, in principle, yeah, you want to pick your best players. But at the same time, you got to think about, okay, who's a fit? So you're kind of playing that balancing, that juggling act of, okay, this player's playing well in the league, or this league or that league, but is he going to be a fit? And yeah, so I don't know what he's trying to get. Does he even have an established, core of players that, he can?
Nah, I can't say that he does, no.
So that's kind of the problem right there. I mean, see, and I get it. You want to try and get an idea of who you have, but somewhere along the way, you got to be able to. And if that's the luxury of being an international manager. You've got plenty of time to.
Right. Yeah. All you're doing is scouting, seeing who's playing in the best form right now.
And then kind of just maybe once you get that international break, be like, all right, I'm going to go with these guys and see what happens.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we'll hope that it goes a little bit better for the U.S. going forward.
I hope so, because that would be 2 World Cups in a row that
we can't miss 2 in a row, man. That would just be such a bummer. Thanks so much for listening to another episode of Footy Tunes. We're going to leave you with one more song from our musical guest tonight. But before we do that, if you would like to be featured on an upcoming episode as a musical guest, you can reach out to us at footytunespodcast@gmail.com, and you could be featured on the next episode. Who knows? But thanks so much for listening again, and we're going to leave you with Waves of Gold by KISMET. Hope you guys enjoy, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Dare you face the real world? Let it come, let it stay. Maybe someday I'll give in to the truth, but for now let's just swim on through. Together we'll bypass the default, swim in areas unknown. Go out. Rest your bones in mine. Let your head unwind. Former occupants will scatter away gone with the harsh light of day. Together we'll bypass the default, swim in areas unknown, reach the middle ground, color the gray.